Hi. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about aliens. Do aliens exist? Are alien abductions real? We know all the different theories about aliens, but are they fake? Are they real? We know all the abduction stories. Well, I know a lot of them. But think about it this way. We live in the Milky Way, one galaxy out of so many other ones. I feel like it's really silly to think that we're the only living beings with this much intelligence in the universe or the galaxy. We just live in the Milky Way. That's just one. There are so many other ones. There could be so many other species that are just smarter than us, has so much better technology, which is why they're able to come here. So I have different theories and UFO abductions that I want to talk about, but I want to talk about the governments and what they've said, and then we'll go into that. So in 2013, the Canadian Minister of Defense started talking about UFOs and the sighting of UFOs. And he says that he wants people to know what's going on. He wants them to be educated. And why this hasn't blown up more, I have no idea. He says that UFOs are as real as airplanes flying over our head. He says that there are four species visiting Earth, and they have been for thousands of years. There are live ETs on the Earth at this present time, he says. He even goes on to say that there's documents of two different species that work with the US government, and they call them the tall whites. So that just blew my mind. But the next thing is that recently the Pentagon officially confirmed that they do spend $22 million in government programming to collect and analyze UFOs. And the biggest conspiracy theory about the government is Area 51 and what they do there. And maybe this is a confession that they actually do work on aliens. But there has been a lot of cases saying that they know that aliens have been there and they do experiments on them. But now I'm going to go into the abduction stories that really got me. So, this abduction story is about Amy in 2001. She was with her friend and her husband. Her friend was in the other room. Her husband was in a different room as well, I think the living room. And Amy went to bed at 9:30. So she was sleeping in bed and the friend was in another room reading a book, and the friend noticed that there was a beam of light coming from Amy's room. So then she heard shattering of glass and she didn't know where it was coming from, and then she realized it was Amy's room. So she walks into Amy's room and she sees a beam of light hitting Amy and then bringing her out of her room, out of the shattered glass window that was broken. So the friend faints. She can't believe what she just saw. She faints for a couple minutes, wakes up, starts screaming for Amy's husband. So Amy's husband gets up, looks everywhere, cannot find her, but he doesn't believe that she was abducted by aliens. He doesn't believe the friend. He doesn't believe that there was a beam of light, so he keeps looking everywhere. So then he realizes that she's really gone, and he might start to believe it. So then they call the cops. The cops don't believe anything. They're like, yeah, right, and they really come there thinking that it's about to be a murder scene, or they investigate and they think maybe she ran away. So they start their investigation, and what they find is crazy. They found in her room the shattered glass, that there was tears in the window, the screen, and then they find outside of her window like this, there were bushes right near her window, and they were singed and burned, and it was only the parts right around where the window was that were very burned, and everything else was green except for that part. So they get a call from a couple hours later, I believe, from hundreds of miles away, that they found Amy. And when they found her, there were marks all over her body, and her body hair had grown at such a rapid rate for it just being a couple hours that had just passed, and she was hundreds of miles away. She claims that she was asleep when she was taken, but she remembers a spaceship being in her yard. And the bushes thing really freaked me out. And I can't believe that she was so far away, hundreds of miles away, and they found her. She's okay now, though, but she said she never believed in alien abductions beforehand, and now she does. So, probably the most famous and what made abduction stories, or abductions in general, known about was in 1961. Betty and Barney Hill were trying to return home to Portsmouth from a trip to Canada. In the middle of the night, they saw lights approaching from the sky. They were on the highway, I believe it was Route 3, And the couple claimed that there were these humanoid, alien like creatures in a window of a spacecraft, and then it landed in a field. After this, they could not remember the next 2 hours. They ended up getting home to Pottsmouth unable to explain the missing hours and their home not knowing how they got there. Both Betty and Barney had physical changes about them after that night, and Betty had a torn dress and a stained dress, and then Barney had scraped shoes and a broken binocular strap. But neither of them had memory of those 2 hours, and they have no idea what happened. So after a couple of days go by, Betty starts having awful nightmares about being taken abroad and about her memory, and she kind of get glimpse in her dreams about what's going on, but she can't explain it. And then she thinks in her dreams it also says that, or she's seen that there were medical experiments done on her, performed on her. So after these nightmares, they go and get hypnosis therapy to try to see if they can recall the missing 2 hours, and they both recall similar experiences of the abduction through the hypnosis. So that's how you know they didn't make it up, because they both, through hypnosis, didn't know what happened and then did know. So there's this new study that came out this year from the university in Spain called Cadiz, and it suggests that the reason why we can't really find aliens or like know where they are is because we're just blind to their existence. And it's very possible that we are. They ended up doing a study on 100 plus people just to see. They put a picture and they gave a picture to them, and they like hid a little gorilla in the background. They asked them a different question to see if they would see the gorilla, and they didn't. They were just oblivious to it because that's not what they were looking for. So the possibility that alien life existing in a way could quite literally humans might not be able to fathom. The team calls it an unintentional bias or unintentional blindness of the species. They can suggest that a phenomenon happens with maybe astronomers looking for something else, but we just don't know what we're looking for, and that's exactly what's happening. And it's up to a point where people are searching for aliens, but they don't know what they're searching for, so they could just be in plain sight. So these are all of the biggest things that made me believe that alien and UFOs are real, and the fact that the Canadian Defense person literally came out and said, "Yep, there's aliens working with the U.S. government," had me shook. But I hope you guys learned something from this video, this speech. So thank you.